Hello everybody, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers, ANY 150, and we are in Module 2 right now. And I'm going to take you through the turn-in instructions. Please look over the rubrics, how I'm going to grade you, grading rubrics. And beneath that you'll see turn-in instructions that you see here. So again, I have to stress that make sure your first and last name is on every file. Deliverables. The student will turn in a completed, textured, and detailed low-poly sci-fi crate as an MB, FBX, or OBJ file format. The student will turn in all the textures used on the sci-fi crate as a PNG or JPEG file format. The student will turn in 2 perspective front and back screenshots of the low-poly sci-fi crate with textures on. The student will turn in front and back perspective renders, fully textured HD 1080 JPEG format. The student will turn in front and back perspective renders with wireframe on, no textures, HD 1080 JPEG format. So let's go ahead and let's look at these 5 things we have to do. Okay, so let's focus on this one right now. Okay, this is the JPEG, FBX, and OBJ file format that I need. Okay, so this is the completed texture and detailed low poly sci-fi crate as an MB, FBX, and OBJ file format. Okay, let's hit those first. Okay. All right. So in my back to my 2020. So here's what we have. Here's my low poly, as you can see. Now we've got our crate, low poly crate, and we've got to save it out, right? So we want to save the scene out. Okay, so what we need to do is go to File, okay, Save Scene As, okay, and this is the scene. This is basically, I just want you to save it out as your first name, your last name, underscore module 202, and that's basically it, and it's .mb. So your first name underscore last name underscore module underscore 02.mb, you can see that, and you save that. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save it to my desktop. Okay, this helps me know where it's going to go, so I'm going to go ahead and save it. It's an MB file. Continue. Okay, give that a chance to write. Shouldn't take too long. And then I'm going to go to File, and make sure that you see your crate and the textures are on. So there's a couple things you need to do. What I would suggest, now we're not doing snapshots yet, but I would suggest is that you have texturing on. So it's texturing. You can hit the 6 key too as well. 6 key. If you don't see your textures and it's black and you know you put your textures on there, go to Renderer and go to Viewport 2, click on the option box, and click on Regenerate All UV Tile Preview Textures. Click on this button right here. Okay. And so the next thing I'm going to do is I need to save this as an OBJ. Now you don't need to export all, you just need to export the selection. Okay, export selection, click on the option box, and we're going to type, we're going to find OBJ export. Again, if you cannot find the FBX or OBJ export, it's not in here, then you'll need to go to Windows, Settings Preferences, Plugin Manager, and then you need to load and auto load, and that should load everything in here, okay, because it's kind of hard to find. And then do that all the way down. Load, auto load, all the way down, so you make sure you don't miss it. Okay, that's what you do, and then you click on refresh and you're good to go. And then you can go back in here again and go to File, Export Selection, OBJ, Export Selection, and I'm going to put it on my desktop and same thing. Your first name, last name, underscore module 2, yep, module underscore 2. Okay, and I'm going to copy this so I don't have to keep typing this in. So Control C, and I'm going to go ahead and export selection. It's going to go to the desktop. Okay, that's where I'm going. Okay, and export selection. There we go. And then we're going to do one more, and this is the FBX. So export selection, option box, and then go to FBX, find it wherever it may be, FBX export. And this one's a little bit different than the OBJ. Everything's defaulted fine. Okay, and then I'm going to go export selection, and then you're going to see this guy over here. And I'm just going to move this around so you can see what's going on. So the only thing you really need to change is under File Type Specific Options is open that, and then underneath here under Geometry you'll find Smoothing Groups, and make sure you select that. I think Smooth Mesh is on and this is on. The rest is defaulted perfect. So all you have to do is type it in, or since I copied it, Control V, and that will paste it in. Okay, and then I'm going to go in here. You might have to type it in if you didn't copy and paste, and then export selection, and that's it. So that part is done. So let's go ahead and minimize that, and let's get back to the next instructions. So that is done. Okay, so we got that first one done. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to go in here and we're going to look at this one. The student will turn in all textures used on the Sci-Fi Crate as a PNG and JPEG file format. Okay. Alright, so you got to turn those in. Now where are those? Okay, so I'm going to go into my documents, and I go ahead, when I've set my new project up, I save it into the Maya directory. Okay, and then under projects, and then this is where my projects are. So here's my project, double click on that, and all my textures are in my source images folder. That's where they should be. Okay, my scenes are in this folder. Okay, that's my MB files, right? My MB files are in here. Okay, so my source images are in here. So I got a lot of stuff, but not all of them are, you know, the ones that I need. So I specifically named my UDOM tiles UDOM. That's why I did that, so I don't make a mistake. So I'm going to click on that one, and there's a lot of them, and I'm going to click on this one. Now I only need 4. Okay, so that means I don't need my base color, my metallic, normal, and roughness. I'm going to hold down the control key and get rid of the height map. Hold down the control key, and I'm going to get rid of all the height maps here all the way down. Okay, there we go. So just make sure I got all of them. Yep. So get rid of the height. So I should have some 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. So I'm going to copy these. Okay, copy. Okay. I'm going to go to the desktop. I'm going to go ahead and minimize this a minute. Let's get rid of that. And you can see that I created all the folders. So in my source images folder that I created on the desktop, it's empty right now. Now I'm going to paste them in there. Okay, there we go. There's my first batch. Okay, that is my low poly crate that I actually textured in Systems Painter. So now on the desktop, on my documents folder, I'm going to go back into my Maya folder and my projects, and then my project folder, and go into source images. And now I renamed my props. So I got my props into this one. I'm going to go ahead and select them all here, and I'm going to delete, or not, just control deselect the height map on all of these. Okay, so get rid of the height map. Wherever I see the height map, I get rid of it, and it looks like I don't have very many of them. Okay, alright, so just getting rid of the height map. Okay, so I got 3 of them I don't need. I'm going to go ahead and copy this. Okay, and I'm going to go back into Documents folder. And my desktop. Let me do it this way. I'm going to go into my source images, and I'm going to paste. There we go. There we go. So the idea is, I don't need all of your junk that you've accumulated in your projects folder. Okay, meaning that you can see that I've done a lot of other things. I've got all of this, and I'm not even using it. This was a mistake, or this was a test run, or this was something that I grabbed from the internet and I never used it. Or if I used it, I went into Photoshop and changed it. So I don't need all your garbage. Let's just put it that way. I do need to have your Photoshop, or excuse me, your HDRI image, which I did not put in there. So you can copy and paste that. Copy and paste that one. Okay. Alright. And let's go back to the desktop, and in my source images folder I go ahead and put that in there because I used it. There we go. So everything you use to create that render, not the scene, the render, to create the render I need to have. Okay? That's creating the render. When you rendered it out, this is what I need when I open up your Maya file to see how you did it. Okay? Alright, cool. Alright, the next thing, let's go back. So we got that done. Alright, next thing is deliverables. The student will turn in 2 perspective front and back screenshots of the low poly sci-fi crate with textures on. Okay, let's do that. That's the next one. So let's go back, and here we are. Here's our textures. I can't see them very well. So let's turn the lights on. Okay, so we need the textures on. If you have it on 5, this is what it looks like. If you have it on 6, it looks like this. If it's black, you need to go in there and go into the viewport and click on that button. Give it time to regenerate. If it doesn't regenerate, then the last ditch effort is you could go into render, go into Arnold, and do this, and click on that and render it out and do a screenshot if you want to. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. But I can see it. I'm just going to go in here. I prefer this. I'm going to click on the light right here. Okay. And I can click on shadows, but I don't think it has enough power to create those shadows. I think maybe it's just on spotlights or something like that. So here's a screenshot. So here's the front of my container. And I'm going to right click or click on the search tool, search bar, and hit the S key and click on snipping tool. Go to mode and rectangular snip. Go ahead and snip this part right here. That's a screenshot. File, save as, and this will be the front. I'm going to the desktop, my first name, last name, module 2. And this is going to be front. Okay, and that's enough. So I'm going to highlight this, Control C, so I can copy that, and I'm going to go ahead and save that onto desktop. Close that up, rotate it around for the back view, get it centered, hit the S key, get that going on. You know how to use this now. I can go in here, mode, rectangle snip, and move that out of the way and just kind of snip that part right here like this, and file, save as. You guys get the idea. Now I can just go into my desktop and Control V. I guess I lost it. I thought I copied it. So write my name again, Byers, and then module 2. And then this will be back. There we go. Save that. There we go. So now we got our screenshots done. I'm not going to show you how to do the renders because that was part of the video. And then if you didn't save those renders and you didn't follow that video, that is something you'll have to go back and redo. and you have to give yourself 15 minutes per render because of the settings that I have ultra high settings on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this. We're done with this part. So here's our screenshots. Okay, so there we go, screenshots. And so we are going to place those in screenshots. There we go. The MB files, all this stuff that I have here, all of it, even the MTL file. So I've got my MB file, my OBJ, and my FBX, and you'll have this little white paper thing, and it says MTL on it. You have to have that in there too as well. So you'll have 4 things, and you'll drag and drop that into the scenes folder. Okay. So I've got my scenes, my source images, and my screenshots. And now we have our renders. Okay. That's the only thing that is left that I can see. So we've got the front and back renders, fully rendered and textured, right? We have that. I just showed you those. And then we've got our student will turn in our front and back perspective renders of wireframe on. Okay? No textures. Okay? So let's look at that. So here's our renders. Okay, front, back. Okay, here's our renders. Wireframe render front. Okay, and back. Great. Take those and place those in the renders folder. Okay, so what do we got so far? Well, we have in our scenes folder, we have our FBX. We have our my MB file. We have our MTL file that goes with the OBJ. It says 3D object, that's OBJ. Okay? Then we go up. Just click out of here. That's our scenes. And then our source images folder has all of our textures and our Photoshop HDR image. Cool. Our screenshots have both of our screenshots, front and back. And then our renders, we have our front beauty render and our back beauty render. Awesome. We have our front wireframe and our back, our front wireframe and our back wireframe. There you go. Got those mixed up. Then that is it. So we take everything that you got here, drag it into your main folder. Okay, right? And this is how I check for properties. I want to see how big this is. So I'm going to right click over and go to properties. And I have a properties of 202 megabytes. Yours will be a little higher or be a little lower, but it should not ever be 1 gigabyte. If you have a gigabyte, you did something wrong, or you gave me something I did not ask for. Okay? So don't do that, because I have to download these project files, and I'll just give you a heads up that Canvas will not upload anything larger than a gig. Canvas will not upload anything larger than a gigabyte. Okay? This is plenty large. Okay? There will come a time where if we go to a higher resolution with our images, like we're going to do that at the very end, you may not be able to turn your textures in because they'll be so big. But you'll still have to render everything out. I still have to see that you've done the work. So, but if I ask for the textures, please give them to me, because that's going to be part of your grade. So 202 megabytes. If you're really high, if you're over 500, go back into your folders and make sure you're not giving me something. I do not need your Mudbox OBJ. Your high poly Mudbox OBJ, I do not need that. Please don't give me that. Okay? That is over 500 megabytes. That would make this like over 700 megabytes. Okay? So I'm at 202. That gives you kind of a standard where you need to be. Okay? Cool. So then I'm going to right click over this. I'm going to go to send to and zip compressed file. I do not want you giving me a 7-zip. You know, I could probably open it up, but I just have to figure all that stuff out. I just want to be able to go and do this. Let me show you. Send to compressed zip folder. Okay, zipping it up. Beautiful. Okay, it's done. So I'm going to go in here, right click over it, and go to Open with Windows Explorer. And it opens right up. Okay, I don't have any worries, I don't have any problems. I'm using Windows. Okay, if you give me a RAR file, I will not accept that. It has to be a zip file, and it has to be zipped by Windows. Okay, so you'll take this and you'll upload this into Module 2. Okay, if you don't know how to do that, then you will have to go back and watch Module 1 TurnIn to be able to upload it. Okay, you need to upload this into Module 2, into the assignment folder. Okay, where the assignment is. Okay, all right, man. You guys did it. I'm sure you did a great job. I can't wait to see your work and how it turns out. So, have a great day. Have a great week. And I will see you in Module 3.